Woof woof! Hello everybody, Shuffle Woof here, with a new album review. This is a recommendation from the Shuffle Woof community. Today we will be discussing the new Sundae Wuz album, Other Ones. Sundae Wuz is an Australian artist who experiments with ambient music, starting in 2022 with their rock-inspired debut, Nevermore. They have released quite a few albums since, including 2024's We're Still Here and the much darker Runes, which are both respectable builds on his previous sound. Also in 2024 came Someone Is Better Here, which is a notably bell-led work, and Spirits, where Wuz dips his toes into some deep house influence. I love to see all the experimentation throughout this discography. His newest album, Other Ones, is an electronic and ambient effort. While its sound can vary quite a bit between tracks, it usually embraces industrial-leaning drum work and digital synths. We begin with a short but sweet, Donk Eternal was wasting no time introducing the album with some airy pad work. It is a good tone setter for this project's darker sounds. We then go into Slip and Stutter, which features twinkly pads and a somewhat busy drum loop. Drum track strikes a similar chord to the previous track, but with drums I prefer. Without a doubt, I believe my favorite track on this whole album is Myst, with its reverb-heavy pads and nice synth melody. I think the drum and bass beat here is interesting and adds good dynamics, as well as the experimentation with reversed drums, sprinkled in at points. This one feels memorable and substantial. The next track, Real Funky Shit, Drum Track 2, features some heavily distorted percussion contrasted with wispy, echoed sounds in the high end. I like how Wuz plays with a left and right panning here. Paw Prints in the Dark is a meditative and minimalistic piece led by a pad and a light bass moving underneath, quite calming. Hey Okay is a track I enjoy similarly to Myst, especially due to its drum and bass influence. This one dives a bit deeper, though, sounding as if you are underground or underwater. I am loving the dark pads and bass, and the contrast of soft and hard once the drums are introduced. A Fox Cries Out is a track that feels somewhat brief, in part, because the first half sounds like a recording of some room tone. The pianos and synth strings in the second half are unique, compared to the rest of the sounds on the album, which does make this track stand out more. The next track, Some Days, Sometime, features some mechanical pad whirring. I am not as big a fan of the snare on the main loop, but I do appreciate the more abstract percussion Wuz introduces later in. Be Nothing hits similarly, it being a simpler track, with pads and some jangling drums. Dead Mammal is a simple but short piano piece that leads right into the next track, Mechanical Dog. This one features some of the most aggressive drum work on the album, which I sadly feel take up a lot of the space, especially against the dreamier elements like the synth guitar plucks and strings. The final track is the behemoth that is Slept, which is a 17-minute ambient piece I can only assume is meant to aid with sleep. Even if this is a minimalist piece focusing solely on pads, I like Wuz's taste for sound design here. It is so meditative I could see myself drifting off listening to it, especially given its length. While this track is pleasant and I do like it on its own, I am a bit curious about its inclusion and placement on this album, especially with how chaotic the previous track was. When it comes to my main critiques for this project, quite a few tracks do feel repetitive to me, especially when they rely on short looped samples. I do prefer the loops on tracks like Myst and Hey Okay, where I feel the sounds are stronger and better suited to repetition. When a short loop is too abrasive, though, it can start to overpower things, especially when it comes to drum beats on tracks like Slip and Stutter, Some Days, Sometime, and Mechanical Dog. Additionally, with other more melodic tracks, I feel the loops can also make the pieces feel somewhat short-winded. Not being afraid of adding more tonal or dynamic variation, or even recording longer live samples, could work wonders for Wuz's next project, because it is obvious to me he has a good ear for sound design on the tracks I like best. Overall, I do appreciate the dark and spacious atmosphere of this album, especially the highlights, which I am still vibing to while typing this. This recommendation has gotten me invested in Sundae Wuz's work, so I will be interested to see whatever he tries next. Woof woof!